watching the clock, 10,000 hours go by. I keep putting in work, the tears are filling my eyes. I swear I've never been tested like this, but this is mine. It's not a matter of chance, just a matter of time. Never look back. If something standing in my way, I always push back. If something seemed impossible, I never took that. Nah, cause now I know better. Can't stop, won't stop, I won't quit ever. As far as won't take me, the highest fall, it won't break me. The blood and sweat is what made me, made me. I'ma get mine, just a matter of time.
Welcome back, guys, to the LCK. We're back with another midway segment. Of course, with the Afreeca Freecs airs. The Afreeca Freecs doing so well to go up against the junior GreenWings, and really goes to show you that the difference in rankings, we expected a strong performance from the one who was upper up. With Afreeca Freecs, obviously on the upper end of things, we expected them to do well, but we did have to just be a little more constructive in the way they won, because despite their victory, the way they got to the victory themselves became a lot more significant. So, lots of interesting team fights that became so vital to the way that Afreeca Freecs got the win all over junior GreenWings there. We also got to see the individual performances and the individual significances of coming with the kills there. This was right around bot lane, and look at how Tucson moved around. This is one very important here. Really just working with knowing exactly when the Alistar headbutt was going to come in, and definitely went in there with the Russian himself, and that just allowed in. We saw the Aatrox just rushing in, but that play in itself, literally just Gragas just rushing into the Alistar's headbutt so that the ADC wouldn't be affected. Just goes to show you that that saving the Kramer, that really allowed for that extended team fight to go to the favor of Afreeca Freecs. And you can see another team fight where we saw a very important team fight once again. Alistar was hiding right at the top there, and actually looking towards the fate where Alistar came in from behind. Saw how this all happened here, but that really nothing that the Alistar could do being in that position, and really quick to notice from Afreeca Freecs to pick off the kills and pick up the advantages that led them through to much better parts of that game. And the fact that the Dragon was also defending in addition to taking some kills for themselves. That positioning became vital towards the Afreeca Freecs, getting such good kills off of that play, and that was all about the Gragas. Really, the support that became so significant throughout the game. Let's see another play here. Putting the pillar right there from the Trundle could have made it really dangerous actually, but at the same time, the Alistar, the headbutt, that will come through, but this was right around. We also actually don't even see it that well because he actually used it, but the Gragas repelled it right away. So once again, a brilliant play by the support with Tucson, and I think that would have been a lot more crucial with CC if Alistar had gotten what it wanted initially, and it just really allowed that with Jinner not really to do anything, because Afreeca Freecs were one step ahead in thinking, and predictions were definitely on, especially from the support of this team that won out the game in game one. Let's see what the fans had to say. Really just looked at Jinner, who was so pronounced for their team fight abilities, was definitely not pronounced so much in game one. It really goes to show you that the top laner has really shown up well as well, and Keen also receiving praise from the fans with his brilliant performances at Aatrox. Let's get the one-line summary from Biddle. We're gonna just, wow, that's a long one. We're gonna just block that one and gonna do the initiate, and also we're gonna two-sin you. So that's what they mean by trying to get the two-sin, become the importance here, and sending it back to you guys.
Thank you very much. Let's go ahead and take a look at the MVP, and of course, it's gonna be Keen. 6-1-3 on that Aatrox with 75% kill contribution. So he gets his second MVP win, denying another one away from Kuro as he tries to regain the lead in the MVP standings.
This is where he ran at the Mundo. Mundo lost 25% of his max HP. Keen said, thank you very much. Your life is mine. He got away from that scot-free, and it was a great performance from Keen. Did seem a little bit delivered on a platter when the blind pick Mundo on Blue's side in the first round with Aatrox not banned happened, but all you can do is say, this is nice for me. It's my Aatrox, which I have made my own. He now moves to a 4-2 stat line on the Aatrox. A good pick for him and a good pick for the Afreeca Freecs.
Yep, very much so. And just a very good and clean game overall from the Afreeca Freecs. A bit slower pace than you might have thought, given the lead and how early they were able to obtain it, but just playing slow and methodically. They round things out with a triple kill for Keen in the end.
It never felt like they were meandering. It still felt like they were in control and they were building towards goal, and that goal was the enemy nexus exploding. Waiting to see if there's any sort of change in roster, but I don't hear our catchy music, so I guess we're going in the same.
Yep, seems like no changes on either side. Still going to be Umpty there for Jin. Still going to be Kramer and Spirit in for the side of the Afreeca Freecs.
Let's roll on pick ban. This time Jin flipping over to the red side. On red side, will they be willing to leave open a big ticket item like the Nocturne for Spirit? That would be certainly a bit of a change in fortunes, but Jin needs one. They desperately want to pick up their second game win of the season.
That would be a big goal for them, for sure. Otherwise, with the loss here, they will be in sole possession of 10th place. Camille going to be the first ban out here from the side of the Afreeca Freecs. Not willing to first pick it, and they know that Umpty will take it if available.
Gentlemen's agreement so far today is no funneling. No funneling allowed. So that has meant that our games have been a bit more traditional. A lot of marksmen have been played, not by the Afreeca Freecs. Also, we already covered the territory of Kramer being an awesome dude player and not an AD carry player.
Yeah. Morgana, just to get rid of another one of those funnel options, or also deny the Morg Pike bot lane.
Will we be seeing Kuro on the Zoe for a second game in a row? I thought Afreeca might consider banning the Sejuani on Blue's side, but they deem that the Swain, if she was able to navigate the early game a bit easier, might have still been something to deal with. Maybe this means a Yasuo on the side of the Afreeca Freecs. Yasuo would rather not deal with Swains.
Could be. Kuro, perfectly happy to pick that one up.
Morgana first pick, very possible as well for the Afreeca Freecs, but the Morgana ban, sorry, apologies there. Was waiting on the final ban from Jin. Is it going to time out? All right, well, we're not sure if that was intended or not.
Okay. So, leaving some stuff available.
Yes, that would leave the Zoe conspicuously available, as we're unsure if we're going to get a remake on the lobby here.
Unsure. Seems like we're moving forward so far, and the Zoe's just going to be the first pick from the Afreeca Freecs, not willing to give that over.
All right, so it was a user error. Ban was late, therefore no ban. So they lose out on a ban purely from being too late. That's unfortunate.
That is, yeah, quite the botch there from Jin when your back's already up against the wall.
First time I've heard that happen.
Oh, dear. Well, Yasuo Sejuani picked up for Jin to start things off. Do we just see a Trundle answered for Spirit?
That would be the most
trend.
Obvious thing ever. And we'll see if Spirit wants to go that way. If he wants to go hunting, because he is, as we mentioned, a famous Kindred player. I, for one, would love to see his Kindred. He was the first one to come up with the...
Guess where that Vladimir's going.
He was the first one to come up with, at the time, I think it was Devourer, even before the Blood Razor. I know I get that wrong a lot, but I think it was even Devourer at the time. Into the Hurricane build that became very popular on Kindred. Waiting to see Afreeca Freecs' second pick. It's going to be just a power pick, Aatrox, as
oh boy.
Keen just wants to reveal reveal yourself, as the Spo TV subtitle is, that he actually was don't remake Aatrox all along.
Yeah. I'm the rank 3 player. Locks it in. Already Afreeca 3 out of 5. On their previous game's composition, will not have the Camille in the jungle. Could always go back to the Gragas. Oh boy.
The lane counter, this would be fun. So1, you gonna do it? He's gonna do it.
Really looking like it. Yeah, gonna be locked in. Renekton in the top lane for So1.
What does that mean for specifically the champion coming out of Teddy? Now, Teddy could be on Yasuo, and I'm already excited by that, even though Irelia hasn't been quite as fortuitous for Teddy as you might imagine. But the reason why I bring it up is we're really lacking the ability power damage on the side of Jin. I wonder if a Rise Band, yes, a very early Rise Band comes through saying, Teddy, no, you can't just go for the winning 2v2 or the winning matchup into Vlad wherever he happens to be. So we're thinking Jin have locked in mid lane or bot lane, top lane, and jungle. So support's certainly something you could look at, but they've already got one coverage matchup for the Vladimir. Full ban put in by Jin. Don't want to deal with Kuro off and off on the Shen. But what does that mean for Rakan? If you remember, was a first round ban on red side at the pick where Jin missed out on their ban.
Do they take it?
It'd be a pretty good synergy with the Yasuo. They need a knock up somewhere. How about a Rakan?
Yeah, the Arctic Assault probably not the only thing that you want to rely on. So Rakan likely taken here for Nova. Definitely at least just need to get it out of the hands of Tucson. If you're not going to ban it, you have to pick it.
Great pick for Nova, so no complaints there. All right, Afreeca Freecs looking for mid lane and support, most likely jungle and support, most likely, and the Skarner. Not a lot of jungle attention. We were hoping for the Kindred, but they do need some form of frontline, and Kuro picking this Keen champion. The Aatrox means they don't have a reliable frontliner. While Skarner's more of a pick champion, still does fit just fine. Also going to farm to level 6, so I'm not going to be as excited, but it's a different pick on the day.
Hasn't been as prevalent. We saw Ambition try in his first game.
Blank's favorite as well.
And that did not work out very well for Ambition.
Blank's recent games on have been pretty good, so no big complaints there.
Alistar available. I was about to say, likely going to get picked up here. So Tucson has some engaged. The Tom Kench, not really his style, so we'll lock this one in.
Jin GreenWings, will they find any magic damage on their side? How will they round out their comp? Could easily be the Yasuo Rakan lane in bot lane. But no, maybe not. Maybe just Xayah Rakan.
Yeah, maybe just the Yasuo mid.
Yasuo mid against Zoe is a perfectly fine matchup to consider. A lot of outplay potential on both sides, and it will be Xayah Rakan with the Sejuani. Very unlikely to be the mid lane Xayah Rakan duo we saw SKT played. So here we go. Relatively standard lanes, although Kramer, we've already established, doesn't play marksman. Afreeca don't really play marksman. A couple games of aiming accepted. To me, it's all about top lane. So1 has a very good matchup here on paper, but Keen has been performing. So1 was solo killed in a matchup that shouldn't have been quite as one-sided in game number 1. How will the junglers interact? Sejuani, probably more gank options in the early game.
Well, Umpty needs to get the ball rolling here for Jin. Really rough game 1. Need to bounce back. They're going for the lane matchup in the top lane. Already saw So1 get solo killed by this Aatrox. He was on the Mundo. Now he wants to be the one getting those kills. Very aggressive pick for him. He's going up against Keen, who has looked so mechanically gifted on this Aatrox and just in general in the top lane. So even with the lane counter pick coming through, still going to be a bit of an arduous task for him.
And what is the cost of putting this comp together? It is very little magic damage. Incidental damage from a Renekton, Sejuani. Conqueror does overcome some of the troubles, but to a point. And can they also make a big lead early, which is where they will have the easiest time navigating their single damage profile.
Jin need to pull this one off. Only one game win so far in the split. Looking for a second one, looking to push us into game number 3 if they can. Be a miracle win for them. The other side, Afreeca Freecs just want to end this right here with a 2-0. Take us home early. We'll see if they can pull it off. And here we are on Summoner's Rift for maybe the last time this evening.
The seventh time of the day.
Definitely the 7th.
As whoa, Teddy's in the crowd.
God, Teddy.
Wait,
The
Jeanette,
entire
get in the booth. Get in the booth.
My God.
How are they doing
They're
this?
playing against bots.
Are they playing via Wi-Fi? I didn't see any keyboards. That would explain a lot. Anyway. Hopefully they can navigate their champions wherever they might be.
Already a rough start, though, you'd have to say, for Jin Air, losing out on that 3rd ban in the first round. Positive win rate for So-On with this Renekton, so we'll be well practiced on this pick.
5-3, and of course his team has traditionally struggled, like you mentioned. Very good matchup into the Aatrox. Able to get in there and mess him up, and we get to wonder if he'll go for the Essence Reaver that was nerfed a little bit for Renekton. Renekton was more about the duration of the buff to try to reproc his W. With more attack speed, theoretically, the interaction is not quite as negative, but I think it was definitely aimed at other champions. We saw a second item coming through from Khan, so hopefully see more of that Essence Reaver Renekton from So-On.
No level 1 shenanigans. Keen just sitting back. So-On farms up. Just chilling out. We'll now push forward. Pick up these minions with relative ease.
You don't want to take free damage from the Renekton when you don't have to.
Yeah.
Umti announces his arrival to the top side by stepping onto the Spire. Always a situational decision whether you want to or not. Something worth thinking about. A gold, not usually worth revealing your position, but depending on where your other lanes want to play, there can be some validity to it. Given that reveal, Skarner is going to look likely to lose his blue buff. And this is looking like a 3-buff start for Jeanette.
Yeah. Double blue coming through. Just go ahead and back off to the red right after this. So, Umti. Solid start so far.
And it was an understanding from Spirit. Spirit didn't put any priority into getting to his topside jungle, cleared the scuttle, as you can see right now. It's a decision made by the fact that he has a heavily losing matchup at the top that was giving up lane control at level 1, as you remember, as he was just being zoned off the wave, waiting to E it as it came in. So, given that reality, gives up his blue, and not going to be a huge cost to the side of Spirit at all.
See where Spirit wants to focus first on the map. Top lane, probably going to be needing the assistance here, as Keen's already using the Dark Flight defensively.
It's pretty hard to full deny Aatrox, even though he's an auto attack abuser with Titanic Hydra and Rage Blade in lane. You max the...
Ow.
Yeah, well, you max death, basically, against Renekton, but the Umbral Dash, as it's called. Actually, no, it's not called Umbral Dash, that's the new Aatrox that I was focusing on. But you max E, you clear waves, you're happy, happy, fun times. I'm trying to try and put some games into the Aatrox and see if it's a champion that jives with me. I must admit, I was never a Riven player, so I feel like Aatrox already a bridge too far.
Well, Ward coming down into the river there for So-On, making sure that he's going to be safe from any ganks. Coming out from Spirit. He's just going to keep trucking along through the jungle, clearing out as much as he can.
Spirit avoiding action is still going to level to 6 pretty reliably. And that's really the big takeaway for the Skarner. May have been 3 buff, but hasn't really been at the cost of significant experience to him. Was able to secure a scuttle, so it hasn't been one-sided in the scuttle race for the side of Jin Air. Level 6 to level 6, a top lane that is a heavily losing matchup. Keen walks up and accepts fate, trying to get the E onto Cannon Minion. Probably call Worth for that one. But until some items come in or a gank, just the reality of Keen that he's going to have to hang back and wave clear and let the Renekton take over the lane.
Yeah, already starved out of quite a bit of CS here. 29-42.
3 away pace, it feels like at this point. Not ideal.
Tidings as you would expect right now. Maybe looking for a gank in the mid lane. We'll start pushing forward. Kuro has Flash and Cleanse available. But he'll be fine. Doesn't need to use any of that.
Anyway, wasn't really in the spot there, and even the lane spacing wasn't ideal for what Grace was trying. Grace had his passive up with 50% HP, so they consider better times. I'll wait for the last breath to be available for play. That's with Ignite up.
Oh, yeah, Kuro gonna go low. Just have this heal ready to go. If he wants to stick around.
Not sure what Kuro was doing there. Must heavily botched that play. Used the heal for a bit of lane sustain as watch level 6.
On the wave, that's just gonna be the flash in, and that's gonna be our last breath. Just in for that first blood. Taking a couple turret shots, but Jin Air starting things off with the right foot now. About 1,000 gold up.
After Kuro's mistake, it was an excellent capitalization from Umti. Great play from them. Gets the knock up. We already mentioned in the first series of the day the value of the Sejuani Q in being able to set up the last breath and take him down. First blood Jin Air, already a better proposition than game number 1.
Absolutely. Spirit's not nearby, even then not level 6. Wouldn't have had the suppression to try to turn that one around. Tucson pushing forward, looking for a stun in onto Nova, but he can just dash back, join in with Teddy, and maybe try to turn things around, pulverize up the backside of that grand entrance. And Kramer just going to take multiple auto attacks from Teddy. No mana on him, so no blade callers, no roots coming through. Kramer's still taking a bit of damage.
Not more reliable laning for the Xayah Rakan as Teddy's gone for a pretty creative keystone on the Xayah. I haven't seen the full attack speed kind of keystone going on here. You don't usually see that sort of a visit, but I guess if you're going precision, Conqueror doesn't really fit. Not going to be going into as many options as previously, so lethal tempo onto Teddy is a different look.
Spirit looking to hit 6. Has that available. Now we just have to see where he's going to try to set up the ganks.
It ends up being lethal tempo and also going for a big one-item power spike item as well. You could kind of understand the thought process behind that, as you just instantly have a huge injection of attack speed, something like the expected Zeke's Convergence. Definitely a different way to go, but I definitely trust Teddy when it comes to 80 carries, so see how he performs on this pick.
Definitely prefer seeing him on the ADCs compared to the awesome dudes of the bot lane. Good to see him shifting back over to those. Starting off with a Lucian, now moving into the Xayah. Even if he couldn't get a win in game 1. Blue buff being taken. Smite used. Kuro able to scoop that one up. And so on, hovering nearby in that north side of the river.
A lot more lane presence for this Yasuo than what we saw in the previous Yasuo game.
Spotted. Grace is coming around from the backside. Lockdown in onto the Skarner. Here comes the Yasuo. Spirit trying to flash away. Ultimate ready to go. Hasn't used it yet. Paddlestar not going to connect through Kuro as he goes forward with that portal jump. They'll go ahead. They'll drag Grace back in. He's got nowhere to go. He'll just get assassinated.
Big investment though. 5-man to just get a kill. No more, no less. Tucson doesn't have the unsealed spellbooks. Could come and join that one. It's just the Vladimir going for the insurance.
Oh, Tucson. Ignite in. Boops Nova into the turret. A nice little cheeky play, but not going to be netting him a kill.
A big play, to be true. Keeps up the summoners, does Nova's top side. Speaking of big plays.
Looking for the lockdown here onto Keen. No ultimate available for Umti, so won't have that hard lockdown, and so on can't get the stun. Keen going to be zoned away from the turret. A bit of damage being invested here. But not much of a minion wave. As Keen goes ahead and finishes off that final one.
Bot side trying to make Umti pay for how many ganks he's tried to pull off by starting up the Drake, but given where the lanes are at, they're actually reticent to continue on it. Spirit just wants to return to his jungle. Surprisingly even early game though, which is a counterpoint to what we saw in game number 2. I think Xayah Rakan for a winning lane bot side ended up being a good move from them, but again, we know winning top lane, winning bot lane, and they got the gank mid lane, so you might say, okay, 3 winning lanes, that's great. After again, keep remembering that as the game goes on, not having any real magic damage on the side could also be a significant problem as well. Yeah. And it's not Conqueror from the Renekton, it's more about the lane trades. Go and press the attack, so When it comes to damage fall-off, I think it's pretty clear.
We'll have to see how this Skarner pick is going to progress here from Spirit. You know that I am very outspokenly against Skarner. There's much better choices to be made. But does it lead to the first kill here for the Afreeca Freecs?
Skarner attacks could be important though, because if you're going full AD and building QSSs, that's a pretty bad feel when it comes to hitting your item timings. Poking around this Rift Herald.
We'll go over to Jinair. We'll be able to go ahead and pick up the trinket. He nets that for himself. And the pillar going to be taken here around the Dragon Pit. So far, objective's going to be eluding the Afreeca Freecs outside of the one kill. Jinair can use that Rift Herald to try to break down one of these turrets. Top's already pretty prepped, as is the bot lane. Charge alone might be enough to kill it.
In the mid lane, if you could find a way to take down that turret, that would be the gold standard to keep the Zoe much more cooped up rather than poking around in a short lane. Like you mentioned, there are easy objectives around the map that could be focused on. Watching So1 control the wave. This is his job, to keep Aatrox accountable for every single CS. What is a really bad matchup for the Aatrox, who can't take standing trades till probably a couple of items against the Renekton.
Down by 20 CS at the moment, so a good lead here for So1. Spirit. Get that Scuttle Crab here on the north side of the river, right as MT roams over. Spotted out on that ward. Keen, maybe going to have to back off. Grace just escorting MT forward as they get that Spire here in the jungle.
In the bot lane, use his flash, as we saw, and the summoner advantage for Jinair, so no more engage probably. Finding creative ways to take down this mid lane turret is what Jinair's all about. Didn't spot if Umti was seen on the ward coming in. Grace certainly is. For the wraparound game, this time stopwatch will be available, so much less likely to turn this into a wombo engage onto the Zoe. Cleanse and stopwatch.
Umti perfectly in vision. Just keeps walking around, just keeps trying to take these spires. Tucson nearby. Keen, does he want to go over the wall for the Dark Flight? Seems like the answer is going to be no. Just wants to catch that minion wave that's getting ready to move into the tower. Stop any chip damage. Any further chip damage, rather, from going through.
Phase rush from Kramer on the Vladimir. We didn't discuss in this game. So electrocute earlier in the night. We've seen phase rush in solo lane, but phase rush the bot lane not as common. Electrocute lets you have some stronger trades early, but doesn't seem to concern Kramer. Speaking of the scene of the crime, though, Kramer's teleports back up.
Blue going to be started up here. Keen backing up Spirit to help hand this one off as Kuro starts roaming. Maybe we'll have to see a smite coming through, though. Nope. Kuro will be able to pick this up. But in the meantime, top turret taking a lot of damage and might even just go down for first brick.
Not really anything Keen can do. Sejuani shows the top side. He has to seed the lane. So one continues to grow a gold lead. He allows some minions to die as well. 30 CS lead and solo turret gold. Nice big purchase coming to So1.
Now that's 1,500 gold up for Jinair. 14 minutes into this game, so a very solid start as they looked at, wow, push us into a game 3.
A team that has had so many struggles, though, so many early games put them in a hole they couldn't emerge out of. Heartening to see Jinair proving that early game, making some good decisions on the Rift. Kramer going to find a very nice first purchase with the Spellbinder. But after a successful gank in mid lane,
He's going to use that Rift Herald.
yeah, you want to bait it out. Zoe does finish her back, and here comes the Rift Herald.
Yeah, that's going to be a lot of damage coming through. See the support pings coming down into the mid lane, but
solo it down probably here.
yeah, I think it's I think it might be a bit too late. The Aatrox is arriving. Pops it up and 50 HP.
50 HP is a lot. If the Zoe can push the minion wave out and you never actually get there, it might even require a backdoor from someone to take this one down. Onti consider just jumping over the wall to kill it. Great timing on the Rift Herald spawn. Doesn't get the maximum value, but gets pretty close. And we already mentioned the gold standard of putting Zoe into a longer lane than mid lane. seems likely to happen.
Yeah, the minions pushing forward. Afreeca Freecs just going to have to surrender this one. So 2-0 in towers. Jin Air maintain their lead, 2.2 thousand now.
Everyone's got one item except for the Aatrox, which suits the side of Jin Air. Storm Razor already complete. Storm Razor would be so pivotal, and I think it's smart for the side of Afreeca to seed this first Drake. It's only a mountain. The items are completely set up with Lethal Tempo, Storm Razor on the Xayah to overwhelm them. But Drake's not the end of the world, and Spirit trying to get creative for a lane gank and bot.
Looking for it. Wants Tucson to get the headbutt in as he tries to play back out of sight. Minions pushing forward, and Numpty in the vicinity. Maybe we just have a 3v3 here around the tower.
Tail of the tape shows you that Rakan has done the most damage this game.
Fun stuff.
Never seen that before on the side of a team, but it is on the Jin Air side, where it's all about the Kuro poke. But low numbers overall. Pretty non-interactive game thus far.
Spirit trying to play around the vision, but just not finding a way in. So just has to go his separate ways and start going through the jungle yet again.
Keen just happy to not have Renekton in the lane for just a fleeting moment. The moment's over.
Oh boy, Keen getting ripped apart. Dark Flight over the wall, has the Blast Cone as well to help take him further out. So on is having quite the time here. 3-0 now in towers. Jin Air starting to run away with this game.
You should see two teams win through top lane as we do see the Trouble
It's gonna
Bubble
be a
hit.
Trouble Bubble. Spirit nearby, pop up from the Dark Flight. There's just nothing that So On can do. Overextended. Bro says, hey, how's it going? And yeah, they whoop him.
Really important for the side of Afreeca, especially for Keen, who had no breathing room in the suffocating lane for the Renekton. Renekton goes down. He keeps both summoners, but his death does mean at least one item will go the way of Keen. We'll have Titanic Hydra Gold, I believe, on this back.
Yes.
Stay on 2,000, but he's going to be significantly delayed. Does he just go for a pickaxe? Does he actually work his way towards Rage Blade, or start building towards something like a Randuin's Omen that we've seen other Aatroxes kind of abandon themselves with? Thank you, Observer. Something very beautiful about a line of stopwatches. Same item on everyone.
Coordinated.
Coordination is always
All in
something
that
I
third
admire.
slot.
But it does look like Rage Blade is going to be the purchase anyway, so not going to go tank, trying to deal with the Renekton. Fight damage with damage, and maybe, just maybe, hit the right trade against Renekton as the game goes on.
Back to the League of Stopwatch.
At least not at 6 minutes anymore.
Yeah.
That was too much. 10 minutes was also seen as too much, and the just right porridge moment was in the middle.
The fun meta of nobody dies. Big push into the top side, though, as Grace and Empty show up. Xayah Rakan hovering nearby. So On in the bottom lane is spotted out as he clears a ward. Jin Air, what do they do to maintain control? What is the next objective that they push? They've already gotten the easy objectives here. The outer turret's all taken. Still a minute away from Baron, but even getting that prepped is going to be rather difficult.
They're much stronger around objectives than they do sieging, because they've only really got Xayah for any sort of siege threat. It's not the strongest siege AD carry. Very strong teamfight team, though. I mean, too much introduction, and Nova gets the knock-up. Last Breath might do the rest. Infinity Edge on the way coming through from Grace. But to get those sort of team fights, they need to really play around Drake and Baron. The Baron rush that we saw from SK Telecom T1 yesterday is always a possibility when you have a Yasuo on your lineup, as he can make you inherently more tanky with the ability for Windwall to block out a couple of barrages from the Baron. Eddie, very, very powerful. 2 items in the lethal tempo, soon to be completed. But you notice 4 control wards, 3 and a bit around the Baron. They just sit there, they're not achieving much, because we can see all the members of Jin Air clean and on the map. It's all about turning that information into a proactive play. Maybe that proactive play has to be a Baron.
Well, we'll see how this one's going to evolve. 3,000 gold up so far for Jin Air. 20 minutes in.
Hey, there's the Essence Reaver.
Got it ready to go.
The big abuse case here is all about being able to lower your ability timings, non-ultimate timings with auto attacks. Renekton's W, Ruthless Predator, counts as multiple auto attacks. 2 without the Fury, 3 with that Fury Rage bar. And thus, you can have a pretty impressive stun lock. This is to double down on winning a side lane. You get in melee range of anyone with your ult, and that Essence Reaver proc going, it's pretty insane.
How would Essence Reaver do on Riven? Another champion with no mana, but short cooldowns already.
Good. I don't know if you need it as much. Yes, for the weaving, the shielding would be pretty cool. But yeah, it could be considered, absolutely. I mean, Renekton doesn't have any mana, goes for it. And it's cool to see, because it is one of those things that when you saw S3 come out, you thought of someone like Sivir, who is powerful with it, but we've seen no Sivir in the current meta. And Renekton was definitely a homebrewed variant, but one that works very, very well.
Afreeca just trying to slow down the game here. Doing a pretty effective job of it so far. As Spirit starts wrapping around, would love to get in there and clear out that vision. There's 2 control wards sitting in front of the Baron pit, but pushing forward would just mean certain death.
Double flat magic ban on the Zoe and the Vladimir. No longer are we in the Runic Bulwark days, and while the Merc Treads answers a lot of it, still is a nice little spot for the Vladimir and Zoe to find themselves in before big magic resist purchases come in. Renekton's largely built for the 1v1, which is the right way to do, but he was in lane against Vladimir, so really couldn't do much in terms of getting a 1 rotation kill, rather be trying to heap pressure onto the Aatrox. And all the Baron vision we talked about saying, hey, it only matters if they play to it. They don't play to it, and actually now, Baron control is on the side of Afreeca.
Yeah, control ward into the back. As Nova is just trying to bait 2 sit in to clear that one out. Seems like that ward's just going to be standing for the moment. Kramer just keeps farming up in the bottom side.
Now in a big lead, but actually pushing forward, something they haven't had to do in other games because they haven't found themselves in this sort of lead, has proved frustrating for them. They don't seem to know how to move the game forward. They don't set up for a free Drake. They don't turn their Baron vision into anything.
They forgot what this feels like.
The lane assignment was also kind of curious, where you just had a Vladimir trading farm with a Renekton with 2 items that doesn't actually do anything to Vladimir. All those things together are delaying what was a pretty big power window for Jin Air, and if they trade items and Rageblade Aatrox shows up at the same time as 2.5 item Renekton, can't be too surprised if Rageblade Aatrox just does more work.
Well, the Vision War is going to continue here around the Baron. Ward over the wall, but blocked out by that control in the brush. So MT can scoop that one up very swiftly. Nice forward ward here from Jin Air onto the Wolf. Kuro finds that trouble bubble in, and Nova just goes down to below half HP. Big burst onto that Rakan.
Combo in Ignite, and he's dead from that play. So the no flash that you were getting to is also very relevant, but Summoner's up for everyone. Could have flashed for some sort of greedy attempt to kill. We don't see it. Nova wants to hold onto his flash desperately for a big flash ult because we're still waiting for a last breath combo. And we should note that Grace did not beeline for Infinity Edge. Took a break, worked towards the QSS. Might be important for outplay. It means the IE timing, like we saw last time with Ghost in our previous series, is going to be delayed.
Yeah, one for the Guardian Angel. The QSS definitely makes a bit more sense here compared to the Guardian Angel that we saw from Ghost in that series, but let's see.
I'm pretty fickle with Guardian Angels, and QSS is against Skarner, because you understand it, right? QSS to get out of the Skarner ultimate. But you can also build an Infinity Edge and group more instead of side laning and not having a QSS. There's ways to play towards damage, and on a comp that will run out of mixed damage as the game goes on versus a much more balanced comp, I just get worried that the QSS delays you into not being able to truly get the most out of your items.
Just been steady as she goes. No action to talk of, really. Just been the 3 kills that we've seen so far. It's bad.
There are days like this where, unfortunately, a lot of our matches were on paper, very one-sided. The rest match of the day should have been the most competitive, but
Yeah.
Anwar Life just completely dispatched MVP like they were nothing. Second series, BBQ Olivers picking up a game win was a big thing for them. This time we're really focusing on Jinair, who had such a better start. They've had so many games consecutively where the game was over at 10 minutes that this is a big counterpoint to that. But unfortunately, the lack of developing good habits means they haven't been able to grow a lead. On a VOD review, you can imagine the coach will have so many ways.
Yeah.
Coach Fly of Jinair will have so many ways to say, you could have done this, you could have done that, but so far the could-haves haven't transpired into dids. And that's a problem for Jinair.
Stops them pushing the pace of the game. Gold has been stagnated for the most part. Since, I don't even know when, around 14, 15 minutes.
And now triumphant item timings are the same items and a QSS. And the QSS is relevant for a lot of scenarios, but it doesn't really represent the gold lead. The gold lead is QSS in this game. You look at the gold lead, it's about the price of 3 QSSs. So in terms of combat items, we're pretty even between the two. Afreeca have no idea what's going on. I love the vision toggling here because a lot of picks you see on both sides. Spirit really wanted to hold on to the scrying plant and not use it until he had to. See where Jinair isn't, that just means that Afreeca backs away.
They want to push forward, clear out some of this vision, but it's just way too risky right now. Not knowing where anyone is, Subti waiting in the brush. Ward goes over, they spot him out.
I'm really not a fan of this, to be fair. It's solo experience. Kramer is almost same level as Sowan, and unless someone actually gets a big damage rotation down, I don't think it's worth it.
Which, that doesn't matter.
No. Big is 2/3 of his health, at minimum.
Yeah. Even then, 2 transfusions, and he's back up to 100%.
All right, Jinair, you need to do something. Otherwise, this game may just be decided around you. Make the big play around Baron. Be bold, Jinair. You played so well in the early game. You need to show something.
Maybe this is how we get a 95-minute game.
Sure. I'm ready for some records to be broken. Jinair still are doing a lot of nothing.
They're trying to stay out of vision, but yeah, that ward's just chilling out. Nova will finally spot it. Takes him a second. He gets it. As Grace takes a decent chunk of damage there.
3 control wards. Are they going to give these up, Jinair? You need to be fighting. You need to be moving. We're not seeing it, and unfortunately for Jinair, again, it feels like the creeping
Another
down.
hit. Oh, if that trouble bubble had connected in onto Umpty, it would have just been dogpiling forward to take out that Sejuani.
The Paddle Star gets them another control ward, clear Achilleos, and we're going to start running out of vision soon on the side of Jinair.
Jinair's just going to bleed their gold lead via control wards, I feel.
I feel like this series is kind of typified by Grace's very defensive flash in game number 1, and now the play we're seeing around the Baron where they refuse to pull the trigger. Afreeca getting more backs than they should. Okay, finally we're seeing the trigger being pulled.
They do start this one up, but okay, well, they're done.
Could have done that 2 or 3 times before this moment. In fact, maybe that's conservative. 3 or 4 times before this moment. They chose not to. And again, now Kramer's level 16. Out of nowhere, he has been able to put together an experienced lead. Not a gold lead ahead of Teddy, as Teddy and Nova on Zyra Rakan were able to win the lane pretty handily. But an experienced lead and level 3 Hemo Plague has been achieved kind of out of nowhere. Keen, who we saw from level 1 giving up minion waves, his jungler giving up blue buff because of his weakness in lane against the Renekton. Also is 30, 40 CS behind, but hitting his items as well. The stopwatches are back to being in order, and I felt like the observers wanted to also highlight that.
Trouble bubble yet again on Nova. Safe as he jumps over the wall. Afreeca still holding on here. Haven't been able to get a single objective yet. No dragons, no towers.
Jinair haven't been able to get an objective in about 16 minutes.
Yeah, I was going to say, they're still keeping Jinair at arm's length. Not letting them get much closer than that.
3 item Xayah is now complete. A huge Yasuo for the longest time. Really don't know what the invitation is that Jinair need. So one's the captain of his team, and we're seeing him persist with his lane assignment. being bot lane against the Vladimir, chunk him out, back away, Vladimir heals up and takes another minion wave for free. It's not moving the team forward. And honestly, Afreeca, just a big engage in a 5v4 could just force a Baron out of nowhere.
Burrow fishing with the trouble bubbles. In the meantime, Kramer going to go low. Let's get the Hemo Plague down on the So On. That'll help pop him back up, nearly 600 on the heal there.
Too much ability power for a chunk to mean too much. And back away, has teleport. If they just even get the inner turret out of this, it's not worth it for how much setup it's required.
It's games like this that lead people to start cheering when wards get killed, you know?
It is true. That's a North America exclusive.
Oh, Tucson, he's going on a bit of a walk. He's going to get locked down. He might just get popped. Ghost Golden here for the moment as they try to keep him alive. Spirit on the grab, trying to drag Umpty back, but not going to be having any follow-up damage. Tucson will survive. But now the ultimate's going to be down. Is that the invitation here for Janair?
Definitely something the disarray caused by the Skarner ultimate and the Golden was enough to buy Tucson his life. It doesn't use his summoners either, which could be crucial, because I imagine Tucson's on the warpath coming back as the Warcat.
They're trying to bait this one out. Prime Orb comes into the pit as they started up, but already pushing out. Still have it contested though, but Umpty, he is getting wrecked by that Baron. Trouble Bubble not going to connect. The wind wall blocking that one out. Afreeca push forward. They'll just clear the vision. Can't get rid of the Scuttle Crab, obviously. But now Keen.
Yeah, when you come to what's happening around the Rift, Jin is so far in a position having to kite as a team upwards that they lose out on most of the mid lane outer turret. Afreeca still don't have a turret. That has been the lead for Jin Air. They've been trying to choke them out, but it's almost like you're trying to choke out your little brother or something, where you're just having a bit of fun rather than actually trying to cause any pain. Because the pain here has not been massive at all to the side of Afreeca. Hey, you never play forward as a kid? Don't give me that look.
You know, I have, but choke out just sounds a bit too aggressive for playful fighting with a sibling.
Hey, you watch pro wrestling, you imitate it, but you're not actually trying to cause grievous
I gotcha. Choke slam onto the couch is what I would have went for. Something like that, you know.
What is language anyway? 7th game in the day?
Well, we'll just keep on moving forward. Afreeca going to be grouped into the mid lane, looking to knock down their first tower.
Janair kind of all over the place.
Woo!
Another objective. The first objective in 20 minutes goes Afreeca Freecs' way. Which, again, to reiterate, is
We're
real
on
bad.
the board.
If Afreeca take the Baron, I might just lose my mind.
You know, they're looking for it.
I know.
Janair, all grouped up as 5. Starting to
Don't
push around.
overthink it, Janair. Get in there.
They're going to be spotted. Ward denied in the backside. Baron down to half. Tucson goes forward, trying to deny this fight. Big pulverize coming through, but Tucson's going to die. Into the backside goes Nova, looking for the charm. Baron going low, but it's still going to go the way of the Afreeca Freecs, but can they make it out with their lives? Keen jumping over the backside. That's going to be multiple members dead on the side of the Afreeca Freecs. 3 members down. Kramer and Keen all running for their lives.
Afreeca Freecs, who has map control for roughly 20 seconds of 33 minutes 20. Take the Baron. They do take some big losses. The death time is at 33 minutes, aren't going to be irrelevant. Nova's doing the right thing. He's trying to stop the Vladimir from back.
Shoving him back.
And be
He's
able
going to go low, but he'll be fine. Now Kramer says, okay, you know what? I can kill over Khan. He'll dash over the wall, keeps himself alive. They lose 2 inner turrets.
3 and 2 inner turrets. So overall, for Jin Air, in a vacuum, you say, okay, it's worth it, sure, but it's not a vacuum Achilles. That's the thing, is that this is not a tone deaf situation. This is, we've never had map control and we get a Baron that should never have been possible for the side of Afreeca, because you remove it as an objective for a team that needs to fight. This team has Renekton, this team has Yasuo. They can't siege, they need to be fighting. One of the few places on the map to fight is Baron and Elder Drake. The Elder Drake is no closer to happening. The Mountain Drake is still on the Rift. And the Baron is now removed as an objective, so I still look at it as Afreeca saying, okay, we're all right with this.
Yeah, it's going to be around 40 minutes. Maybe even later when we see that Elder Dragon come through, if it's, you know, even taken soon. At the moment, Umpty in the vicinity. 2 control wards stacked on top of each other.
Every champion's graves trying to deal with that. All right. Afreeca Freecs, they got a Baron buff, and they say, well, still got a couple of them still going. Let's take a second turret of the game for the Afreeca Freecs, and that will start to close the gold lead.
Yeah, I'm trying to shrink this as much as possible.
QSS.
A lot of standing gold here still.
No QSS on Sejuani. Everyone else has one. So once again, consider that is 5.2k of the roughly 5,000 gold lead that Jinair has.
Calls coming through, ping out onto that Mountain Drake, Afreeca. Possibly going to make a beeline for that objective, try to get their first dragon. Deny a further win condition away from Jinair, because, again, not very often that we end up with the Elder Dragons in this current meta, but this is definitely going to be one of those games.
Seeming likely, but it could also end at 42 minutes with an ace. Emo Plague on 5 members. Crazy things have happened.
Yeah.
Victory is assured.
Well, Jinair will be the ones to start this up, so it seems like Afreeca not going to go for the contest here. And really, overall, they get the Baron. They're only able to net 1 tower in the top lane.
Getting some more what if the Baron was there for Jinair to keep setting up around rather than how big was the power play for the Afreeca Freecs.
Just baby steps at the moment. They're trying to get that last outer turret in the bottom side. Claw back a little bit more gold. Get further away from that 5k deficit that they nearly find themselves in.
Walk up here, and walking forward is Tucson. Means they will get that 3rd outer turret. Means a gold lead is basically nothing for where the game is at in terms of impact on itemization and really team fights in many ways. Double Death Cap has been finished for a while. Aatrox had 2 items ages ago and now is working towards Sterix and also the Randuins, it appears. I guess the only person who's kind of smarting on the side of Afreeca's Spirit, he doesn't really have anything. He's got a Randuins and a Cinderhawk compared to the buffing items on the side of Umti. And still, it's a 6,800 gold positive place. They didn't lose gold overall.
Trying to keep themselves relevant here. And like you said, given the current state of the game, 37 minutes in, this is not going to be the biggest deficit. Kramer can land that multi-man. Emo Plague into the back line. That could be Jinair's undoing.
I'm going to say that maybe OGN calculates the plus 6,800 differently because the gold lead hasn't gotten smaller. So I'm guessing that's just how much gold was earned rather than 6,800 gold more than Jinair picked up in that time. To me, that's my assumption based on the numbers we have.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
It's not normally how things are done in the LCS.
Or there was an extra 0 put on.
A 680 gold
680 gold power play.
Yeah. I'm going to guess that was just how much gold they earned with the Baron.
More than likely.
Purely spitballing. I'll check on that after and be able to update you in a future match day.
We'll make an inquiry.
Speaking of match days, this one is now just over the 8-hour mark.
Hooray!
Had some fun stuff today. We also
did.
had some games that have drawn out a little bit too long.
The first series was a fun one, albeit a bit of a very big wash.
This game could just turn into one team fight. If you ask me who that suits, probably Jinair. You know, probably Jinair have the advantage there. Now, should they have ever been in a position where they needed a team fight? Maybe not, but with the game going where it is and having a marksman in the late game, still is potential for Jinair to win. It's not a one-sided thing. Renekton does struggle in team fights, so it's the one area where I'll say that probably a big advantage to the side of Afreeca Freecs when it comes to late game Aatrox versus late game Renekton. I could say the same thing about Skarner versus Sejuani, to the benefit of Sejuani. So wondering where this game goes. Feels like it's going to be 40 minutes of foreplay and then just a really big team fight to answer it all. Kramer's just been solo lane Vladimir for the longest time this game.
He hasn't been connected with Tucson in so very long now. I mean, he's pretty huge. The only thing that he's... Actually, I'm not even sure where he wants to go. He's got a stopwatch and the Zonias in the inventory. What?
He does. I actually don't know how... I assume that doesn't work.
Yeah, I'm very confused by that, actually.
But we'll check in on that later.
Yeah.
Interesting. Kramer speaks good English. We could ask him. For denied a blue buff. Small resource gone to Jinair. Jinair will say, you know, we made some mistakes around the first Baron. It's going to be a full power second Baron at 40 minutes. Jinair looking for the pick. The pick everywhere. One scrying orb available now. Blue trinket here to Kramer.
Teddy not taking very much damage. Some life steal as
They
well.
can do this Baron real
Well,
fast.
Scrying Orb's going to come down. They see this one. Nova waiting in the wings. Going to be looking for the flank TP coming through from Keen as the Baron is very dangerously low. Wind wall to deny. The poke coming in from Kuro.
And patrolling that area.
4,000 left on the Baron as they try to get out of there, but Tucson goes in, finds a massive knock-up straight into the Hemo Plague. As Afreeca Freecs start pursuing forward, Nova gonna go low, dashes through, tries to reconnect with his team, but they are still so dangerously low on the HP bars here on the side of Jinair as they try to kite back. Spirit finds the Dragon, pulls through Grace, they'll pop the Guardian Angel, he's completely surrounded, and he will go down. Afreeca Freecs pressing forward, now looking for the Baron themselves.
Really delicate timings there. Nova wanted to go in, but at the same time, Hemo Plague into the backline forced them to retreat, and Nova is exposed in the front. So not all decided, a lot of things down, but only one dead.
Soan's back to base, he's got the teleport, he's coming in deep though, he's gonna be by the blue buff. Baron still down to about half HP, Soan waiting.
On a ward.
He is on a ward at the moment, as you say. Tucson finding the pulverizer, Soan comes around the corner. Now they take the fight back, Umti getting knocked down to half HP. Afreeca Freecs will be pushed off the Baron.
Much ado about nothing in the end. We don't get the Baron. Grace goes down, still down for 20 seconds. Minion wave in top is pushing out. Gonna be able to fully disengage. That ward doesn't spot the Baron being started. It does spot that now.
They see this, it's just gonna be Jinair heading for the hills yet again. A single pick, not netting anything for Afreeca Freecs, but they keep their hopes alive here in game number 2. Little bit of damage, just a smattering of it here onto this inner turret in top, but otherwise not gonna count for much. Afreeca Freecs will rejoin. Start clearing out the vision here inside the Baron pit, but Grace is back up. Be much too risky for the Afreeca Freecs to try to start this up now. That being said, Tucson goes in, finds a pop-up there onto Soan. Umti down to half HP, but the bouncing castle comes through straight into the last breath, and Grace finds the kill in on the Tucson Spirit. Sliced and diced as Soan jumps forward, takes him down. Another Guardian Angel popped. Grace can't go in, nor can Umti. Both of them dangerously low. They can't follow up onto Keen. Soan will die.
Struggle of the Renekton is pretty real, but it's at the cost of 2 members. So numbers-wise, Jinair do come out ahead through all of this. The health bars are not there, and maybe Afreeca will fall back and take an objective that has also spawned. Elder Dragon is on the map. The only vision around it was a Spire. They take the Spire and announce they're on the Elder. Jinair should run to the back.
Yeah, they're sprinting their way over there at the moment. Elder Dragon will be taken very swiftly. Do they just go ahead and push straight up to the Baron to try to disrupt this? The answer might just be a no. A trade of objectives coming through. Afreeca gonna have to be happy with this.
It's decent. I don't think you can have a fully formed opinion on it just because their Elder Dragon is just base stats, but the only reason I tend to agree is 3v4, they got something. And now the Elder Dragon is removed in kind of the same way that the Baron was removed for the first Baron. Objectives that seem to be set up and loaded up for Jinair to take are being removed off the map from consideration. What will it mean? Will it just mean that Jinair disengage for a minute 56 and have a 1-minute Baron buff power play time? As this season, it's been 46-42. Jinair, predictably, they were in that game. They're in this one too.
You and I just always breaking records.
Well, I think you're kind of the MVP because I'm always there, so I'm there for all the games. But
yeah,
you you bring the long ones. How you feeling? How many minutes? What's your crystal ball telling you? Your crystal ball only tells you the length of League of Legends games. It's a pretty crappy.
You know, I think we
ball.
might be pushing closer to 50 this time around.
Should tweak the crystal ball and get some lottery numbers.
We'll see how this keeps going. The wave clear not going to be the best here from the Afreeca Freecs against the Baron empowered minions.
Nope.
Double AP. Keen really has to play forward to try to knock these down.
But not the best wave clear versus not the best siege.
This is true.
The end result is wave clear.
Stalemate.
Hooray.
Our favorite.
We could be going on to a Game 3 Achilles. I'm ready for it. I want to see more League of Legos. I'd prefer if this one ended and we started a new one rather than this one drawing out for another 20 minutes.
Yeah, that's a good point. Umti gonna get slapped. That's not gonna matter too much. Wave clear gonna be denied here by the wind wall, but like you said, siege is not gonna be great, so it's mostly gonna be some of the minion damage going forward onto that tower.
Kind of need a trouble bubble to hit to draw out a QSS for any action to really happen on the side of Afreeca. It doesn't feel like Kramer is going to pop Spellbind to Flash ult.
And then go for the Impale.
Yeah, it's slow and steady. It still wins the race according to history. As
Tucson! 3-man knockup, but is the follow-up going to be there? Nova dashing into the back with the quickness, trying to lock them down. Tucson going to go low, and that is going to be Kramer dying right off the bat. The bot line completely disintegrated as Teddy comes up with a double kill, and I think Jinair might have done it. Another win coming their way. Keen going to get the passive proc, but he's got nowhere to go. It's a delayed triple kill coming through for the Xayah. Jinair is going to be barreling down the top lane, looking to take the inhibitors here as Kuro and Spirit look on in agony. Their base crumbling. Jinair looking to pick up their second victory of the summer split.
They've definitely done it. Too many people there. Achilles. Windmill goes down. We're going to a game 3. And, well, the execution, it was a super play from the Alistair, but sadly, to only the detriment of his team.
Both Jinair and BBQ able to get a second victory here today. BBQ fell short, couldn't get the win in the end. Jinair looking much improved here in game number 2. Can they be the one to do it?
See Umti on your screen trying to rally the troops and say, second victory, Afreeca Freecs. They played 2 3-game series in a row, and they have lost both of them. It's a bad sign for the Afreeca team that were on the up and up previously. The side of Jinair GreenWings, for once, hope will spring eternal.
One more game. Jinair GreenWings pushing us to the limits here. 10:30 p.m. already in Korea. It's going to be a long, long night, it would seem, Baba Smithy.
For a team that trumpets its internal scrims and having 10 people that can play at any moment, will we see any substitutions for the final game? Jinair got a massive lead, and that was about as big a pulverize you could ever want. Unfortunately, you're initiating into Grace, who can kite back on the Yasuo and just put out consistent damage. He just wanted to ult, not really for a wombo, but for the armor penetration to be able to take down member after member.
Yeah.
They all fall to the Yasuo's sword. Make the Freaks go down, and we get that game number 3.
Yeah, that and Teddy on that Xayah, getting so very far ahead. Kramer just didn't even stand a chance. Gets ripped apart. Very limited follow-up off the backside of that Emo plague, and now we find ourselves with one final game. This was the last 2 series were the ones that were supposed to be the one-sided ones, Papa. But in the end, we're gonna go to the distance. 8 games here today.
Your Skarner skepticism will continue as well, Achilles.
Yep.
Spirits Gragas, not so great.
I'm telling you, man.
Skarner, not working out.
It's garbage pick.
Strong words, but I understand where you're coming from, and I think when it comes to the Game 3 draft, perhaps Afreeca Freecs will overrule a further Skarner pick.
All right, well, we'll see what Afreeca's going to piece together. Jinair, especially the pressure is on for these guys. So very close to getting this match win. Can they do what BBQ was unable to here in our last series? They're going to be hungry for it. Afreeca, they need to be the ones to bounce back. Already lost to Hanwha in an upset. Do not want this happening again, especially to the likes of Jinair GreenWings. Pressure is on for both of these squads to get the victory. We'll see who can come out on top when we come back from the break.